Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nam Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravanta Charini Nirvishesha Shanam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Gita Radha Vivasadi Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Jaya Radha Vrindavan Chandra Radha Vrindavan Chandra Radha Jaya Radha Kunj Bihari Radha Kunj Bihari Radha Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Guru Dev Guru Dev Guru Dev Jaya Jaya Guru Dev Ram Sankirtan. Just start in 1 minute, huh? Just 2 minutes. So last time we discussed about how there is a separate world, which is the spiritual world, where we can get real eternal love and happiness. Right? So today we'll focus upon. So today will be the last session where we'll talk about how there can be unity in diversity. Right? That is the topic. Or the other way, if you want to understand, is if there is one God, why are there so many religions? Right? So that's what we'll try to discuss today. So many times this question comes to our mind: if there is a single God, why are there so many different religions? Why is there so much of confusion? So that's what we'll try to understand today. One God, but different, so many religions. Okay. Who is God? ABCD formula and Srila Prabhupada. So actually, if you look at the different religions, the essential principle remains the same. And what are those? That you should approach a spiritual master. You should approach a guru, right? God is one who gives law of God, right? Or we should obey God's law. Service to God is the real service, return to kingdom of God. So these are the essential principles which remain common across religions, right? You should not perform any sin. Holy name, or God's name is the greatest. We should recite God's name. This is actually a common phenomenon between any religion which you see. Sacrifice and realization of material pleasure is considered as one of the basic foundational principles. Right? So now, then why are there so many different religions? Is the question we'll try to understand. Right? So let's try to understand using an analogy. So let's say there is mathematics. Now, in an elementary school, for example, a second standard or third standard boy or girl, if you tell the boy or the girl, what is 2 minus 5? Then the child will get confused. You'll say, hey, 2 minus 5? You cannot subtract a bigger number from a smaller number. The child will say, बोलेगा नहीं, ये बड़े नंबर से तुम छोटा नंबर कर नहीं सकते. ये लेफ्ट वाला नंबर बड़ा ही चाहिए, वो छोटा नहीं हो सकता. Right? But the same number is given to a high school child, 7th standard, 6th standard, will say -3. Right? Similarly, when the boy goes to college, he will be able to understand the calculus and integration and all the complex things. Right? The high school child may not be able to understand that. Similarly, what happens is there are different people with different consciousness or different levels in the world. Right? So somebody is not able to understand the religion of the highest level. Right? So for them, a basic religion is given. For example, Islam is one religion where it talks about basics of spirituality. Christianity also talks about basics of spirituality. Whereas Sanatan Dharma, which is called as Hindu, which is actually not Hindu because there's nothing called as Hindu Dharma in the scriptures. That Dharma talks about the highest religion. If you read Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Raj Vidyam Raj Guhyam. Right? And he also says that this is the highest religion one can know. Right? There's nothing else to know, he says. So that is what the difference is. Basically, people are at different levels of understanding of God. So you cannot give a same religion or same concept to everybody. The fundamentals remain the same. But the highest part, you cannot, like Jesus said to his followers, there is so much I have to give to you, but you will not be able to take it because you're not at that level, because those people are fishermen. So for them, he just gave the basics, 10 commandments. Do not sin, not kill people, do not do good to others. I said that's basic principle here, which they are able to understand, right? Like that. So Islam Dharma is, so Islam is 1,300 years old. Christianity is 2,000. Buddhism is 2,500. And Bhagavad Gita was spoken 5,000 years back to Arjuna. And actually, Sanatana Dharma has been there for a long time. It is there from the creation, which is millions and billions of years ago. Right? So this is the comparative study. We are not saying Hindu religion is supreme or superior. We are just trying to compare things here. Right? Actually, all religions give the same path, but a different variety or different, should I say, level of understanding. Because people are at different levels. That's why, right? And obviously, Sanatana Dharma, which we call Hindu, has got the comprehensive understanding of a religion, right? That is the concept. Another example, can be given of a dictionary, Oxford dictionary, which is a full dictionary, or a Chambers dictionary, is got all the words in the dictionary, or all the words in English. Let's say in English dictionary, but a small pocket dictionary will have only certain words, maybe 1,000 words, right? So that is the difference between the religions, right? So let's look at the similarities of these. In the Quran, in Islam, and in Hinduism or Sanatana, what does the mean? So in Sanatana Dharma or Hinduism, we say ruh, we say jiva or soul or atma, right? Whereas in Quran it is said ruh. We say spiritual, basically, which is chit, knowledge. There it says mujarrad. Material, jisma. Right? Conscious, liberated soul, which is basically a jiva or a soul who is liberated from the material world. There it's called ruh mujarrad. Then we have a baddha jiva, basically somebody like us who is actually trapped in this material world. They are called ruh tarkibi. Impurity, malaput. Like that, every word, if you look at, there is a similarity, right? Many similar things are there. So there was a discussion between one Qazi 500 years back and Sanatana Goswami, or sorry, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself, who came 500 years back. And when they spoke, the Qazi said, what you call as jiva, we call it ruh, right? What you call as conscious liberated, we call as ruh karki. So whatever they discussed, same things were discussed, which means there is a lot of similarity between the two religions, like that, right? So now, if you look at the each and everything which has been explained here, more or less everything is covered in our Sanatana Dharma, right? So every soul will taste death. The life of this world is, comfort of illusion. So these are all the basic concepts which you'll understand. People say, tum Kailasvashi ho jaoge, Swargvasi ho jaoge, or you'll go to heaven. So all that is the common things which are there with the scriptures, right? Now, what about Sanatana Dharma and Christianity? In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says to Arjun, that abode of mine is not illumined by sun or moon, nor by electricity. One who reaches it never returns back. And in Christianity, the same thing is said, right? In Shvetashvara Upanishad, in Hinduism, it's said, there the sun doesn't shine. Basically, the spiritual world, there is no sun required there. No moon is required, no stars are required, right? What to speak of fire? The Lord shining all this shine, his luster, all these are variously illumined. Now, what does Christianity say? And there shall be no night there, and they need no candle, neither light of the sun, for the Lord give them light, and they shall reign forever and ever. So what it means is there is a lot of commonality between these things. Yeah, you can see here, Jesus says in Bible, there is much that I have to tell you, but you cannot hear it now. But in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, I shall declare now unto you in full this phenomenal and numinal knowledge. Phenomenal means material knowledge about this material world, and numinal means spiritual knowledge. By knowing this, there is nothing which will remain for you to know. इसका मतलब है कि सब कुछ मैंने बता दिया, अभी और कुछ बताने लायक नहीं है, which is Bhagavad Gita, right? Like that. So different religions, same message. Different gods, different names, same God. Right? Only the level of understanding and message is different. That's all. I give this example of dictionary as well. Chambers dictionary will have millions of words, whereas a pocket dictionary will only have thousands of words. Right? Like that. That is the difference. Okay. So who is God? Let's try to understand. So simple definition of God is one from whom everything is coming. Janmadhyasya yato anavayat itaraschartheshu abhigyasvara ene brahmaridiyadikavaye muhyanti yatsuraya. Like that, the first sloka of Bhagavatam says. It says, everything is created, maintained, and destroyed by God. That is God. And that is one definition of God. Okay. Now, what does Bible say? Bible says, Jesus said, I am the Son of God. Bible never said, I am God. For whoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed by thy name. In Christianity, Jesus never said, I am God. He said, I am the Son of God. And God's name, he said, is Christ or Jehovah. Right? Whereas in Quran, what does Muhammad say? Muhammad says, I am the prophet of God, which means I am the preacher of God. And in Bhagavad Gita, what does Krishna says? Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam Buddha Bhav Samanvita. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. Krishna is saying this. Right? And then Arjuna is saying later, Param Brahma Param Dhama Paramam Pavitram Bhavan Purusham Shashvatam Divyam Adidevam Madam Vibhum. Is saying, you are the supreme. Param Brahma, Param Dhama, you are the supreme abode. Pavitram, you are the purest. And I am not saying this only. Narad Muni is saying, Vyasdev is saying, all the different munis are saying, the great Acharya is saying. So you can see the difference here, that the message of Bible was given by the Son of God. Message of Islam was given by the preacher of God. And Bhagavad Gita was spoken by Lord himself. So from that we can understand the depth of the message. Right? Also, there is a lot of similarity between Krishna and Christ. Christ comes from the Greek word Christos, and Christos means Krista. And so Krista is a Sanskrit word for Krishna. So there's a lot of similarity between that. Right? That's also another fine. Yeah. Christ is simply another way of saying Krista, and Krista is another way of pronouncing Krishna, like that. So who is God? God is one who's got 6 opulences. Now, if you understand the definition of God, God has to have these 6 opulences. This definition was given by the father of Vyasdevji. His name was Parashar Muni. And he said, if a person has got these 6 opulences in full for all times to come, then he can be considered God. God is not just who shows magic. मुंह से लिंग निकालता है, हाथ से राख निकालता है, वो भगवान नहीं है. भगवान कौन है? भगवान वो है जो 6 प्रॉपर्टीज दिखाता है हमेशा के लिए. मतलब क्या? He is all beautiful. हमेशा के लिए. ऐसा नहीं कि अभी ब्यूटीफुल है बाद में बूढ़ा हो गया. नहीं. Right? He should be the most beautiful for all times to come. That is God. He should be the strongest for all times to come. Right? Okay. Now, in this material world, somebody could be Lakapati, Karodpati, Arabpati. Right? But Krishna is Lakshmipati, which means he is the owner of all the wealth. Jo bhi wealth aa raha Bhagwan se aa raha. Because all the wealth is coming from Lakshmi ji. And Lakshmi ji, you can see in this right picture, she is at the feet of Krishna. She is called as Lakshmipati. She's called Krishna is called Lakshmipati, which means he is the owner of Lakshmi. Right? So the Krishna is the richest for all times to come. ऐसा नहीं कि अभी rich है बाद में poor हो गए. No, he is the richest for all times to come. Right? He is the strongest of the all. Somebody might lift 50 pounds, 100 pounds, 150 pounds, 200 pounds, but Krishna can lift Govardhan Parvat, which is 21 kilometers in diameter or circumference, and it is huge. Now it is gone down, but it was huge when he was lifted it, and he lifted it from the left hand finger, tiny finger, and that too not in the center of the mountain. He was at the corner of the mountain. Still was able to lift, and that too for 7 days, 7 nights. Who can do this? Only God can do this. That is a strength. And he also killed so many Rakshasas. Kamsa he killed, Agasura he killed, Putana he killed, so many Rakshasas he killed. Right? Knowledgeable. God is the most knowledgeable. How? Somebody might have good knowledge of engineering, somebody might have good knowledge of medicine, somebody have good knowledge of English, maths. So many topics are there. But nobody can say in the world that they have got knowledge of every topic in the world. ऐसा कोई नहीं बोल सकता. Only God can say that. Why? Because God is the one from whom everything is coming. सब कुछ भगवान से आ रहा है. और भगवान से आ रहा है इसलिए भगवान को सबको पता है. Right? Like that. And God is, okay, now we missed out a couple of things. So if you go back, basically God is the strongest, he is the richest, he is all famous. मतलब क्या? मतलब भगवान को कौन नहीं जानता? सब लोग जानते. Probably sir, there are some people who are atheist. Yes, they might be atheist, but the percentage is very less. And this material world is only 1/4 of the entire creation. मतलब 3/4 is spiritual world. Or spiritual world mein everybody is God conscious. Everybody knows God. That's why the majority, 75% of people actually are knowing God. That's why he is the most famous. He is most beautiful. भगवान जैसे ब्यूटीफुल और कोई नहीं. और वो भी ऐसा नहीं है कि भगवान अभी ब्यूटीफुल है बाद में बूढ़े हो जाएंगे. No, God never becomes old. In fact, anybody who is a spiritual entity in the spiritual world, that person never becomes old. And the last thing is, he is the most renunciate. Renunciate मतलब क्या? वो त्याग कर देता सब कुछ. वो बना देते हैं, but उसके साथ कोई attachment नहीं रहता. Right? Like that. That are the 6 opulences, 6 characteristics of God. अगर किसमें है ये चीजें, then that person can be called God. Otherwise, he cannot be called God. इसको भगवान बोलते हैं, भगवान. 6 occurrences like that. Yeah. The different religions call him by different name. Like for example, sun is called by in different name. Ravi, Bhaskar, Dinkar, Surya, Aditya. So many names are called. In India, we call by some names. In US, it's called sun. But when the sun sets in India, it is rises in US. Now you cannot say, oh, it's an US sun, or it's an American sun, it's a Spanish sun, it's a Australian sun. नहीं, एक ही sun है भाई. एक ही sun है, अलग-अलग नाम दिए क्योंकि वो अलग-अलग कंट्री में होते हैं. Similarly, God is the same person. उसका सिर्फ नाम अलग दिया है. अल्लाह, जिहोवा, कृष्णा, राम, नारायण. Everybody is the same person. एक ही व्यक्ति है, उसको अलग-अलग नाम दिए. जैसे अभी I have got different names. I am called Anand in my personal and my official circles. I am called Anand Balram Das in ISKCON. I am called Papa in my home, and I am called by different name by my parents. So अलग-अलग मेरे नाम है. I am just a tiny individual. If my tiny individual can have 3, 4, 5 names, why can't God have so many names? God has got innumerable names. अनगिनत नाम है भगवान. Like that. What about Tridev? Tridev is not one personality. Tridev is, there are 3 gods, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. But these are all, these are all coming from Krishna. So Vishnu is also an expansion of Krishna. Shivji and Brahma is also an expansion. Tridev is not one person. Tridev is also 3 gods are considered as Tridev. Right? And God has got various roles. He creates, maintains, and destroys universes. Right? For creation, he takes help of Brahma. For maintenance, he does it. And for destruction, he takes help of Shiva, right? Like that. So God has got various roles, beyond this world, the spiritual world, right, which I mentioned. God has got the sweetest form, which is Krishna, Ram, Vishnu, Narayan, right? And he's enjoying pastimes. There is no need for worries there, because that's a spiritual world. Yeah, because there are different role God provides or God shows. He is called by different names. कभी बोलते हैं कि वो सिर्फ punishment देता है, त्रिशूल के साथ दिखाते हैं, चाहे से बुरा व्यक्ति दिखाते हैं. Because he gives punishment, definitely gives punishment. Because we do not obey his laws, he gives punishment. And he is called as maintainer. He is called as Durga. अलग-अलग नामों से दिए, but भगवान वही है. Durga ji is a Shakti of Krishna. Shivji is an expansion of Krishna. Brahma is the Jiva like us, right? So everything is coming from Krishna alone. You might say, अरे पर इतने 33 कोटि देवता हैं, ऐसे कैसे? So all these are different minister positions in the material planet. जैसे हमारे इंडिया में गवर्नमेंट है और प्राइम मिनिस्टर है, and there are so many ministers. Similarly, there are many ministers in the universal rule. There is a minister for rains, Indra. There is a minister for water, Varun. Minister for light, sun and moon. Minister for medicine, Ashwini Kumar. Minister for what else is there? Right. So many things are Hawa, Vayu, air, Vayu. Like that, there are so many ministers and so many different demigods. Minister for education, Ganpati. Minister for punishment, Yamaraj. There are so many ministers. These are all demigods. So 33 koti demigods jo hai, they are just ministers in the government of Krishna. That's it. Okay? So let's look at the different levels of love one would have with Krishna, or the different levels of understanding of God. The first level of understanding is fear. Everybody is fearful of God. Some of the population, right? The first level is fear. अरे बाप रे, भगवान मुझे ये कर देंगे, मैं अगर ये नहीं करूंगा तो वो करेंगे, वो नहीं करेंगे ये करेंगे. One time, one Christian preacher met one, brahmachari, and he threw a flyer at his mouth, face, and he said, "Surrender to Jesus, otherwise you'll be condemned to hell for eternity." आप जीसस को सरेंडर करो, नहीं तो आपको हमेशा के लिए नरक जाना पड़ेगा. बोले ये क्या है? ऐसे तो भगवान का ये डेफिनेशन नहीं है, पर लोग होते हैं जो डर के मारे भगवान को मानते हैं. That is the very, very basic primitive understanding of God. That is not the highest understanding. That is very, very primitive. कि तो भगवान में विश्वास करो ना तो तुमको तुम्हारा कुछ बुरा भला हो जाएगा. Lot of people do that. Right? अरे 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 मैंने नवस बोला था तो मुझे बालाजी जाना पड़ेगा, नहीं तो मेरा बुरा हो जाएगा, गणपति जाना पड़ेगा, नहीं तो मेरा हो जाएगा. दैट इज अ वेरी वेरी बेसिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग. दैट इज नॉट द वेरी मैच्योर अंडरस्टैंडिंग. दैट ऑफ फियर. सेकंड इज डिजायर. कुछ लोगों को डिजायर होता है, अरे मुझे ये चाहिए, मुझे गाड़ी चाहिए, मुझे बंगला चाहिए, मुझे जॉब चाहिए, मुझे यूएस जाना है, मुझे वो करना है, अच्छी बीवी चाहिए, अच्छा हस्बैंड चाहिए, बच्चे चाहिए, मेरा बच्चा बीमार है, उसको ठीक होना चाहिए. दैट इज डिजायर. दैट्स आल्सो नॉट द बेस्ट, बट इट्स बेटर देन फियर. एटलीस्ट डर के नहीं कर रहे, कोई इच्छा से कर रहे. दैट इज द सेकंड लेवल. थर्ड लेवल इज ड्यूटी. करना है इसलिए कर रहे हैं, भी हमारे परदादा करते थे इसलिए हम गणपति का करते हैं और हमें कुछ पता नहीं. या अगरबत्ती क्यों जलाते भाई, आप गणपति की क्यों लेके आते हो हमेशा हर साल? मुझे नहीं पता, वो मेरे पापा लाते थे और मेरे पापा को उनके पापा ने बताया था, उनके पापा को उनके पापा ने बताया था, इतना मुझे पता. दैट इज ड्यूटी. नॉट अंडरस्टैंडिंग रियली क्यों कर रहे हैं, बट कर रहे हैं. दैट इज बेटर देन डिजायर. आउट ऑफ ग्रेटिट्यूड यू आर डूइंग, राइट? दैट इज ड्यूटी. Like one time there was a marriage and the priest was doing the marriage, but one cat was disturbing a lot. So he asked somebody to get a basket. और वो बास्केट वो बिल्ली के ऊपर रख दिया तो बिल्ली अंदर ही रहेगी. So then when the girl got married, when the girl who got married, she became old and her daughter was to be married. She made all the arrangement, and she also said, you bring a basket and you bring a cat as well, because you have to keep the cat, a basket on top of the cat during the marriage, because in my marriage the bharji did this thing. तो ये गड़बड़ क्या है? People do not understand कि क्यों कर रहे हैं. वो सिर्फ इसलिए कोई कर रहे हैं, रिचुअल इसलिए कर रहे हैं, ड्यूटी के लेवल पे कर रहे हैं, पता नहीं क्यों कर रहे हैं. बट बेसिक ग्रेटिट्यूड है भगवान के लिए. हाँ भाई भगवान जो है ना बहुत अच्छे हैं, आई एम थैंकफुल. वो ड्यूटी लेवल पे चल रहा है, राइट? दैट इज ऑल्सो नॉट द बेस्ट, बट बेटर देन डिजायर एंड बेटर देन फियर, राइट? लाइक दैट. नाउ देन द फाइनल एंड द बेस्ट इज लव. जहां पे प्रेम है वहां पे आदान प्रदान एकदम अच्छे से हो रहा है. Reciprocation is happening very nicely because you are doing your you are you are approaching God because of love. Like this picture which is showing this lady, fruit vendor. She came to Vrindavan and she was selling fruits. And when Krishna, he was a small boy, he heard that this lady is selling fruits. He went inside, took some grains and went out to get the fruits. And by the time he went to the lady, most of the grains had fallen from his hands. But what he gave, whatever he had. And the lady was so happy to give the fruits. She was overwhelmed with happiness. Usko sirf phal dene mein hi maza aa raha. Because she was interacting with Krishna, because Krishna is the supreme God. And she was very, very happy. And then when Krishna put the grains in the basket, the grains converted into jewels. But when the lady looked at the happiness of Krishna, she thought, I should bring more fruits for this boy. So she threw the basket, she threw the jewels and went to the forest, brought more fruits and gave it to Krishna. तो उसको कोई jewels में interest नहीं था, क्योंकि उसको प्रेम से interest था कि मैं कृष्ण को प्रेम कर रही हूँ. So she was reciprocating through love. तो उसमें material चीजों को कोई relationship नहीं होता. She got so much of wealth, but she rejected it. क्योंकि उसको नहीं चाहिए, उसको सिर्फ प्रेम का आदान प्रदान करना है. Okay, there are a couple of questions here. Shri Krishna is the 8th avatar of Vishnu. That is the perverted understanding. That's not the full understanding. Actually, whatever we see in this material world is Krishna is taking avatar, or Krishna is incarnating for many purposes, right? So Vishnu actually is an expansion of Krishna. It's not the other way around. What we see in this Dashavatar is just the 10 basic avatars or prominent avatars. There are millions and millions of avatars. Krishna is the original one. After then Balaram. After then there are 4 or 5 different expansions, and then Vishnu comes. So when Krishna appears, we think, oh, Ram is there, Varaha is there, then Hiranyakashipu, Narsimha avatar is there. Like that, there are 10 avatars, and Krishna is one of the Vishnu. This is the very basic and crude understanding of it. Actual understanding is original God is Krishna, and Vishnu is also coming from Krishna. Vishnu is also coming from Krishna, right? Yeah. Okay. Let's go to the next. Okay. Now, another aspect we can understand is in Sanatana Dharma, there is so much detailed up information about how this world was created. Whereas if you look at Bible or Quran, it just says, let there be light, and there was light. मतलब क्या? कि दुनिया बन गई ऐसी. भगवान ने बोला कि चलो बना दो, और बन गया. Let there be earth and there was earth. Let there be light, मतलब सूरज का light आ गया. ये इतना ही basic understanding है, right? Whereas if you look at the Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, it was elaborate. जैसे भागवतम का एक पूरा 500 पन्ने का एक किताब है, इसमें पूरा बताया गया कि सृष्टि कैसे निर्माण हुई, भगवान के शरीर से पूरे ब्रह्मांड निर्माण हुए, ऐसा पूरा डिटेल में दिया हुआ, पन्ने से पन्ने पढ़ सकते हैं. There are so many chapters dedicated to this, which means there is so much detailed information in the Sanatana Dharma and Hindu Dharma, like that. Step by step creation बताया गया, सब कुछ, right? Like that. Okay, so basically Radha, Krishna or Ram, Sita, Ram, Lakshmi Narayan are the global mother father of us. We forgot Krishna and Radha, we actually revolted against them in the spiritual world and we came here. और हमें लग रहा है कि हम यहाँ पे एंजॉय करेंगे, हम यहाँ पे मस्त रहेंगे, बट एक्चुअली क्या हुआ है, उधर गड़बड़ हो गई है. उधर हमने भगवान से झगड़ा कर लिया, भगवान से झगड़ा करके इधर आ गए तो वी आर ट्राइंग टू फाइंड हैप्पीनेस, बट नहीं मिल रहा है. So our current parents are just our this life's parents, whereas Krishna and Radha are the original parents, like that. So originally in the spiritual world, Radha or Durga or Lakshmi or Parvati, they are the Shakti form of Radha, which means Krishna is the male potency, Radha is the female potency. All the female potencies like Durga, Parvati, Lakshmi, everybody is coming from Radha. That's the basic understanding. Yeah. Okay, this is the expansion. We will not go into detail because it's quite technical. This is how the entire universe was created. Karnodakshayi Vishnu is one Vishnu through which everybody is created in this material world. Okay, and there are so many other expansions. We will not go into. It's really technical. We will discuss this sometime in the future. So the Bhagavatam explains that in the corner of the spiritual world, a big ball is created. In that big ball, this Vishnu is lying down, Karnodakshayi Vishnu. That ocean is called as Karan ocean. And from his body pores, these millions and millions of Brahmandas are coming. You can see these golas, these balls. Billions of Brahmandas are coming. In each Brahmand, there is another Vishnu lying. It's called as Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. And from the Garbhodakshayi Vishnu's tummy, a lotus is appearing on which Brahma is sitting. So basically, Brahma comes from this Vishnu. And then Brahma creates the entire universe. He does the construction. That is how the actual universe is created. So like that, every universe has been created. So many religions say God is great, God is love, God is almighty, God is very beautiful. But how beautiful? How is God great? How is God almighty? वो नहीं बताते. And if you go to Islamic religion, they pray to the Kaaba, but they do not know what is the shape and form of God. But if you look at Bhagavatam, it exactly explains how Krishna looks like. Barahapidam natavarapakaranayo karnikaram vibratavasa kanaka kapisham vajantam chamala randravenu radarasudaya purayan gopurite vrindaranyam sapudaramanam pravishadita kirte. The gopis are saying Krishna wears a peacock feather. Barahapidam Natavar, he is standing in a three-banded form, right? Then he's got a flute in his hand. He's got a Srivastha sign on his heart, right? And he's wearing a garland of lotus flowers. And he's wearing kundal in his ears. As a pura description diya gaya. His lips are like bimba fruits. His teeth are like very beautiful fruit, very beautiful flowers. ऐसा अलग अलग description है. His nose also, nose का description दिया है, ear का description दिया है. Eyes are like lotus petals. He's got a pinkish color in his eyes. His soles of the legs are also pinkish. ऐसे पूरा description दिया गया पूरी तरह से. What does he like? What does he eat? What does he wear? Where does he stay? Phone number क्या? सब कुछ दिया गया भागवतम. Whereas if you look at Islamic religion or if you look at Bible, it doesn't talk about it. Just say God is great. कैसे great? वो नहीं पता. कैसे दिखते हैं? वो नहीं पता. You only go the basics of the God. Whereas here we got so much details कि पूरा हमारा जिंदगी कम पड़ जाएगा भगवान को जानने. इतना details दिया गया. पूरा details. He looks like a monsoon cloud, and his feet His soul has got 20 signs of auspicious signs feet के ऊपर, soul के ऊपर. ऐसे अलग अलग डिस्क्रिप्शन दिया गया, right? Sometimes he comes in 400 form, sometimes comes in 800 form, sometimes in 200 form. इतना सारा डिस्क्रिप्शन दिया गया. There are 18 cantos of Bhagavatam, 18 volumes है ऐसी किताब, जिसमें lot of description is given about ये creation कैसे बना, भगवान कैसे दिखते हैं, क्या करते हैं, वो लीला कैसे करते हैं, क्या खाते हैं, क्या पीते हैं, सब कुछ दिया गया. Which means the Sanatan Dharma has got so much of details, right? Like that. And Krishna is saying, I told you, aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante maam buddha bhava samannita. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything comes from me. Bhagavad Gita 10.8. भगवान खुद बता रहे हैं, सब मुझसे आ रहा है. Nobody else says that. Jesus never said that. Muhammad never said that. Like that. यच्चापि सर्वभूतानां बीजं तदहं अर्जुन न तदस्ति विना स्यान् मया भूतं चराचरम्. O Arjuna, I am the generating seed of all existence. There is not a being moving or non-being that doesn't exist without me. Bhagavad Gita 10.39. भगवान बोल रहे हैं कि मुझसे सब कुछ आ रहा है. मया दक्षिण प्रकृति सूयतन सराचर. दिस मटेरियल नेचर, ये सब ब्रह्मांड दिख रहा है, सब मेरा एनर्जी है. अर्जुन, सब मुझसे आ रहा है. एवरीथिंग इज कमिंग फ्रॉम मी. प्रकृतिम साम अवस्थभ्य विस्त्राजादि पुनः पुनः भूताग्रामम यमं कृष्णम अवश्यम प्रकृति वसात. द होल कॉस्मिक बॉर्डर मेरे अंडर है. मतलब मटेरियल वर्ल्ड जो पूरा है ना, पूरा मैं मैनेज कर रहा हूँ. इसको बनाता भी मैं हूँ और नष्ट भी मैं करता हूँ. आई क्रिएट इट, आई डिस्ट्रॉय. इट इज इन माय हैंड्स. भगवद गीता 9.8. गांव आविष्य से भूतानी धारया महमोजसा. सारे प्लैनेट्स में मैं एंटर करता हूँ एंड देन ओनली दे एक्चुअली आर एबल टू स्टे इन द ऑर्बिट. आप सोचो ये सारे प्लैनेट्स ऐसे घूम कैसे रहे? हाउ आर दे फ्लोटिंग इन द एयर? अर्थ फ्लोट कर रहा है, सन फ्लोट कर रहा है, मून फ्लोट कर रहा है, सारे प्लैनेट्स फ्लोट कर रहे हैं एंड दे आर आल्सो मूविंग अराउंड ईच अदर. ये कैसे पॉसिबल है? कौन कर रहा है कंट्रोल? भगवान कर रहा है. भगवान बोल रहे हैं मैं जाता हूँ, हर प्लैनेट पे जाता हूँ मैं और मैं इसको कंट्रोल करता हूँ. जैसे पुलिस ऑफिसर जाता है वैसे. यद यद विभूति मत सत्वम श्रीमत ऊर्जितमेव वा तद तद एवच्च गच्छम वा मम तेजो संभवम. सारा जब कि तुम दिखता है, फॉर एग्जांपल गर्ल इज वेरी ब्यूटीफुल, अ बॉय इज वेरी हैंडसम, अ पर्सन इज वेरी इज गॉट लॉट ऑफ वेल्थ, अ पर्सन इज वेरी स्ट्रांग. ये सब कुछ मेरे ही स्प्लेंडर से आता है. छोटा सा मेरा स्प्लेंडर है. नो दैट ऑल opulent, beautiful and glorious creations spring from a spark of my splendor. मेरे बाएं हाथ का खेल बोलते हैं, ये मेरा चुटकी भर का काम है. दैट इज व्हाट कृष्ण इज सेइंग. सब कुछ सुंदर जो दिख रहा है मुझसे आता है. 10.41 भगवद गीता. Like that. Lord Krishna not only claimed he is God, but he also proved. He showed the entire universe in Yashoda's in his own mouth when Yashoda looked at it. When Arjuna said, "Hey Krishna, how do I know you are the greatest?" Krishna showed him the universal form. Vishwarup दिखाया कृष्ण अर्जुन को. पूरा सब कुछ दिख गया. Right? Like that. Even Brahmaji is saying, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Haranam. Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is a supreme Godhead. He is an eternal, blissful, spiritual life, body. He is the origin of all. He has no other religion, and he is the prime cause of all causes. Brahma Samhita 5.1. Brahmaji wrote one book called Brahma Samhita. In that he is writing. He is saying, मेरा भी origin वही है, शिव जी का भी origin वही है, सबका origin वही है. कौन? गोविंद आदि पुरुषां तमहं भजामि. Like that he is saying. एति चाम सकलापुं साम कृष्णस्तु भगवान से. There's a shloka in Bhagavatam that says, all the different avatars, millions and avatars, is originating from Krishna. Krishna खुद से सब कुछ आ रहा है. Like that. All greatest sages say that. Arjuna is saying, Ahustam Rishi Sarve Deva Rishi Naradas Tatha Asito Devalo Vyasaha Swayam Chaiva Bhavishime. I am not the only one who is saying. Narad Muni is saying, Asiddha is saying, Devala is saying, Vyasa is saying. Everybody is talking your glories and they are saying you are supreme. सारे बड़े बड़े आचार्य, माधवाचार्य, रामानुजाचार्य, चैतन्य महाप्रभु, शंकराचार्य, सब लोग यही बोल रहे हैं कि भगवान कृष्ण ही सबसे सर्वश्रेष्ठ. What is Shankaracharya saying? Shankaracharya is considered one of the greatest proponent of our religion. एकम शास्त्रम देवकी पुत्रम गीतम एको देवो देवकी पुत्रेव एको मंत्रस्तस्य नया मानियानि कर्मापि एकम तस्य देवस्य सेवा. He said there should be one religion. Okay? There should be one scripture, which is Bhagavad Gita. There should be one God, Devaki Putra Krishna. There should be one mantra, Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That's it. Nothing else is required, he says. Like that. So what is the ABCD formula? So A is basically we should be associating with good people. For us to cultivate good habits, we have to associate with good people, which is saintly people. B is books. We should be reading books like Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, Bhagavatam. That will give us the knowledge. C is chanting. We should be chanting Krishna's name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Like that we should chanting. D is diet. Whatever we eat, generally speaking, vegetarian diet, we should be offering it to God and then eating it. ऐसे नहीं खाना चाहिए. Because Bhagavad Gita says, यत्न शिष्टासनो संतो मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल विषय भुंजते एतं गं पापा पचन्ति एत्म कारणात्. It says कि अगर हम लोग भगवान को ऑफर करके नहीं खाएंगे तो हमको पाप लगेगा. Because everything is coming from Krishna. हम भगवान से ले रहे हैं और भगवान को कुछ थैंक यू भी नहीं बोल रहे, तो हम क्यों भगवान को ऑफर करते हैं? थैंक यू बोल. And then we should engage in the Lord's seva. Our original constitutional position is to serve God. और अगर हम सर्व करेंगे then we'll be happy. Otherwise we'll not be happy. Association of devotees. One time there are two parrots. One parrot, both of them, were brothers. And one time, a person, hunter, took the parrots and he sold one to the butcher and he sold one to the saint. So after many days, the one parrot was sold to the butcher. So whoever would come to his home, he would cry out, kill him, beat him up, kill him up. ऐसे बोलता था. And the parrot, who was on the saintly person, he used to say, आइए घर पे बैठिए, कुछ लेंगे क्या, आपकी तबीयत कैसे है, like that. So both the parrots were coming from the same place. They came from the same mother. But ऐसे कैसे हो गया? Because of association. अगर हमारा संग अच्छा नहीं रहेगा तो हमारा रंग बदल जाएगा. That's why we should be associating with good people, saintly people, so that we can, go up and not go down, like that. Book reading. We should be reading books like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. These gives us actual knowledge as to what we should be living in this world. बाकी जो books हम पढ़ते हैं, that just gives you knowledge in terms of what you need to achieve money in this world. But Bhagavad Gita tells how to live and how to die. That is the book we should be reading on a regular basis, because it's a song of God and it helps us to understand why we are suffering in this world. Bhagavad Gita is one book which will tell you why are you suffering, who is God, who are you first of all, and what is your connection with God, and how can you liberate these sufferings. इस sufferings को end कैसे कर सकते हैं? भगवद गीता बता. तुम कौन हो? भगवद गीता बता. भगवान कौन है? भगवद गीता बता. That is why it's the most popular book and we should be reading it regularly. Yeah. C is chanting. Chanting is basically Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Because in Kali Yuga, Kalera Dosh Nidherad Nastig Mahanuguna Kirtanadev Krishna se Mukta Sangha Samarpaya. It says basically that in this Kali Yuga, chanting Krishna's name, chanting God's name is the only way for liberation. बाकी कुछ करने की जरूरत नहीं है. पहले के जमाने में सतयुग में बहुत तपस्या करनी पड़ती थी. हजार साल बैठ के एक बार फॉरेस्ट में से तब करना पड़ता था ऐसे. अभी तो हम लोग 5 मिनट के लिए भी नहीं बैठ सकते. फिर त्रेता युग में बड़े सैक्रिफाइस करने पड़ते थे जिसके लिए बहुत पैसा लगता था. और फिर द्वापर युग में घर पे ही अलग अलग मंदिर बना के उनकी पूजा करते थे और वो भी बहुत डिफिकल्ट होता था क्योंकि सब कुछ मेंटेन करना पड़ता था. कपड़े वैसे पहनने पड़ते थे, टाइम पे उठाना पड़ता था, टाइम पे सोलाना पड़ता था. अभी वो पॉसिबल नहीं है. तो गॉड हैज गिवन अ वेरी सिंपल मेथड. घर पे बैठो, हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र बोलो, भगवद गीता पढ़ो, सुनो लेक्चर और इन सारे मिजरीज से छुटकारा पाओ. दैट इज द कलियुगा वे ऑफ. बिकॉज मनत्रायते इति मंत्रा, जब हम मंत्रा बोलते हैं तो हमारे मन को त्राता है. त्राता मतलब क्या? इट लिबरेट्स द माइंड, इट हेल्प्स अस टू बिकम प्यूरिफाइड. Diet, you should be only eating food which is offered to Krishna, and Krishna says patram pushpam phalam toyam. It doesn't say, give me mass machi. No, that is not for actually humans. Mass machi is only for animals. Humans say no, but there are so many people who eat because they do not have the knowledge. If you look at our digestive system, our digestive system is only made for vegetarian food. Only 2 canine teeth are there, which are these. Other than that, all the 3 are meant for vegetarian food stuff. If you look at a cow's teeth and our teeth, they are very close. And our intestine is 10 times bigger than that intestine of a lion or a tiger. So a lion or a tiger, when they eat the non-vegetarian food, it immediately crosses through the body. So decay of food जो ज़्यादा देर पेट में नहीं रहता. But in human body, the non-veg food remains for long time. और decay होता है, and it has an effect on the body. So health reasons, spiritual reasons, and ecological reasons. तीनों reasons say we should be vegetarian. Not only vegetarian, we should be offering our food to God. ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं करना है, vegetarian cook करना है और एक प्लेट बना के भगवान के सामने रखना है. कोई भी छोटा ऐसे जैसे फोटो है यहाँ पे मेरे पास, ऐसे फोटो ले सकते हैं आप और फोटो के सामने रख सकते हैं और भगवान को बोले कि थैंक यू सो मच, आपके कारण मैं आज में खाना खा रहा हूँ. राइट? क्योंकि विदाउट कृष्णा's grace we can have anything. राइट? बस उतना ही करना है. That's it. That is called. उससे हमारा बहुत प्रगति हो जाए, क्योंकि हम अभी खाना जो खा रहे हैं जो भगवान को थैंक यू भी बना, वो पाप है. कृष्णा से 3rd चैप्टर, यत्न शिष्टासनो संतो मुच्चन्ते सर्वकिल विषय, बोलते कि जो मुझे ऑफर करके नहीं आता कहता वो पाप है, क्योंकि यू आर नॉट सेइंग थैंक यू टू कृष्णा. एंड जो हम भगवान को ऑफर करके खाते हैं उससे हमारा चित्त भी फ्री हो जाता है. इट बिकम्स प्यूरिफाइड लाइक दैट. एंड एंगेजमेंट मीन वी शुड बी एंगेज्ड इन कृष्णा सर्विस. कीर्तन करना चाहिए, कुछ तो सेवा करना चाहिए. somehow or other we should be engaged in Krishna service like that. Okay, so we'll stop here now. This part we'll probably cover in the future sessions. Are there any questions you have? कुछ प्रश्न है क्या आपको? 5 मिनट है हमारे पास. उसके पहले कि मैं नेक्स्ट सेशंस का अनाउंसमेंट करूं. Any questions? So far, from any topics also you can ask.